Hello again. Welcome back to You're the Artist Studio, and today we're going to be painting our classic truck and tree. I have it all drawn out here, and we're using some basic colors, some white and black, red, 3 colors of green, silver. I think that's about it. Oh, and some copper, which kind of blended into my red now because my plate's a little wonky. But we're going to get started on this. So we're going to start with the background. My big, and it's a very snowy background. In fact, actually, I've painted this before. I painted it last year. Now I'm just painting a smaller version of it. So here's the big version of it, 16 by 20. So we're basically painting this again because of the venue I'm having it at. We're doing a smaller version. So what I'm gonna do, and the truck is bigger, I don't have as much background to work with, so I think for this we're just gonna do a very light gray background, like it's, you know, a snowy gray sky. So I'm mixing some white and black and creating a nice little gray. And I want the color to vary. I may even kind of hint that, so I'm gonna put some pure white in there and just to lighten it up. I want it to be all different shades of gray in the background, but rather light. Don't get too heavy on it. So I'm just kind of smushing, like little circular motions. Now, if you're painting this along with me, and I'll put a tracer up there for my YouTube channel, feel free to do your background whatever color. If you want it to be a bright sunny day, that's fine. We're just kind of making it a kind of a snowy day. A little list of pink colors for a different painting. Alrighty. Some white into that. I think it's a little dark. What I did on my 16 by 20 was I kind of hinted at foggy trees in the background. I may still do that. We're gonna do the same for the ground because it's a snow covered ground. It might be a little on the darker side there. That's a little too dark. So I'm just basically coloring in a basic gray for right now. And I am going to come back to this and lighten it up a little bit when it dries some more and kind of add like piles of snow. Lighten it up a little bit now. I think I went over my truck a little. That's right. Mm. I'm going to try and do my little ghost trees. All my little ghost trees. Basically, just the shape of evergreen Christmas tree type. And just a slightly darker gray than the sky. I just think it adds a little bit more interest, and when it dries some, I'll add some white highlights like snows on it. So it's like driving by a little forest. All right, I'm going to clean out my brush. And we'll come back to all that. And we're going to paint our truck. And we're going to paint it just plain red for right now. Then we're going to add some interest to it. I'm painting this flat, and that is not the way I like to paint. I struggle with that a little more than I probably should. So used to years and years and years and years of painting on the easel. But yet I know other artists that never use an easel and paint flat all the time, and it's like they're natural. So it's just what you get used to. I'm just trying to find my lines again after having painted some of them over. And this here particularly. And I have all these little areas kind of drawn out, and they're not really important. I'm going to kind of try and save a few of them for right now. We're going to paint over it again anyway. Because once we're done with the red, we're going to add some black to it, and just kind of, we want this truck to look like an old truck, and it's going to have a lot of different shades of red. That'll make it interesting. In fact, I'm just going to paint over that. You can still see the lines through it. This is such a fun and classic Christmas painting. And we'll be doing this at the My People Senior Center towards the end of the month. I am so psyched about the Christmas season. I think it'll be so much fun, especially some of the paintings. This one's always a fun one. Then we have the Christmas chicken. That's going to be a blast. So now while this is wet, and that's important that it be wet, I'm going to add just a wee bit of black here and there. Just add. And if you feel like you've added a little too much black, just okay. Just come in with your red and go back over it. Like here, maybe a little bit. I can just actually pull some of that off with the brush. But we want a variety of shades of red. We want the truck to look old and weathered. You can come back in with red and tone some of that down. So toning this down, I'm just kind of pulling it off with the dry brush. I'm just kind of smoothing it out. Like I said, I wanted to have a lot of color variation. I don't want it to be just a pure brand spanking new looking red truck. I want it to look like it's a truck that it's got some age on it. Like it's a grandpa's old truck. Actually, my grandpa never had a truck. He had a 1965 Ford Mustang. It was red and it was beautiful. Oops. Didn't necessarily want to tap into the copper yet. So smooth that out a little bit as well, although I do want a nice defining there because there is a spot there where it's kind of separated from the cab. I think that's a little too dark, but that's okay. There's no right or wrong way of doing this, so I mean, don't stress out. If you feel like that you're like, oh, I got too much of this, too much of that, take all the paint off your brush, make sure it's dry and all the paint off, and then just kind of run it over, wipe it again, run it over, wipe it again, and it'll start pulling it off. You can use a baby wipe. You can just let it dry and then put more red paint back over it. It's okay. It'll work out. No reason to panic. Sorry, I have cats that I film at night because the dogs don't really bark at night. But then the cats come out and they start their zoomies and they start being crazy at night, meowing at everything under the sun. All right, so we've got a lot of color variation in this. Let's come back in with more red. Just want to try not to get it too overly saturated, too wet. So right now my painting is very, very wet. I'm using this brush to just kind of pull some of it off. Just trying to smooth out some of the brush strokes. It won't really matter too much in the end. I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to take some of this gray while it's still painted in the window. Probably should have done that before I painted the red, because I don't want to pull the red into the window. Also take so much, since I have the gray, the inside of the tires. And then we can paint the tires. Right now we're essentially color blocking. We're getting in everything filled in. We'll come back and add details as we go. Now I'm going to come back in with my little small brush, your detail brush, and a little bit darker gray, quite a bit darker gray, not quite black. And fill in the inner circle of this tire. Maybe kind of hit up some of these areas in here. It's too much water on that brush. All right, so background's blocked in, the truck is blocked in. We can touch up some of this stuff in a little bit. Now we're going to start on the tree. The tree is super easy. Clean my brush, and we're going to kind of, we have 3 colors of green here, and I'm going to paint the whole tree in, initially the dark green. We can have a lot of fun with this tree. So basically we'll paint it all in the dark green, and then once we've done that, we can come back in with some of the lighter greens. And then finally, so what I'm going to do here is kind of fluff out the edges a little, like they're tree branches. Just getting this painted in kind of, it doesn't have to be a solid, it's okay. See all these variations just from the one color. We want all kinds of variations in this tree. Have it sticking out here. Alrighty, I'm going to clean my brush. And I'm going to come in with this middle green. It's probably not a lot different. I'm just going to add some various strokes of it and just, we want to keep the lighter colors to the top where the light is. It's going to be a little darker in here. I may even come back in with the dark green again once it dries a little. And we just want, again, a variation of greens of colors. Don't want it to be just a solid color green. Easy peasy so far. As I said, the tree will be easy. I'm going to hit the dark green a little bit because I have to wait for it to dry. It's too wet. Now I have my lighter green. I'm just going to light less, not so much as before, as the middle green. I'm just going to lightly kind of add some of that. And I definitely want it darker towards the bottom where there's less light hitting it. Okay, we're going to let that dry for a little bit. We're going to kind of come back in and let's see. I'm going to take some of this copper that I have here. And hopefully when I have the paint party, and this is just it's a metallic, it's a deco art. But sadly, Hobby Lobby is stopping. They're not carrying deco art anymore, and so it's going to become harder for me to find some of the colors. So we'll have to see if I can find maybe a different brand, or maybe they'll change their mind. And I'm just kind of sweeping in a little bit of copper here and there. I'm not putting it everywhere. It's kind of like a highlight. It'll have in the light, it'll shimmer a little bit because it's a metallic. Like I said, you don't need to cover this. It's just random spots of copper. We want to hit a little metallic here and there. Now I'm going to start adding. I'm kind of go around here, like say here where the background didn't get filled in. Now that this is dry and that's dry, and while we wait for this to dry, I'm going to start working on this background. So as I said, I just added these tree shapes in the background for interest. You don't have to. You can just make it a plain gray sky. I'm just going to kind of add some random. I don't want to try and make this look symmetrical if I can help it. So it's like snow on the trees. Oops. Apparently I got a little red up there. That's okay. Smokey, go away. The cat decided to come up and visit. Okay. Now I'm going to add snow on the ground. I have a friend. So, friend, if you're watching this, and don't be offended, but it was kind of funny. They're from another state that doesn't snow often, and generally a fairly warm state, and they were staying here while I was away, watching my dogs, and it snowed. Well, they struggled to shovel my driveway so she can get her car out. And I was just like, well, why didn't you just drive over the snow? Because you can drive on snow. Ice is a different thing. She didn't know. And it's not like she's ever been around snow, driven in snow. So we're trying to make this look like it's just packed snow. You can create little bunches of it. I'm just kind of making it. I definitely want like a pile of it around the tire. Of course, my tire's still wet, so. Alrighty. And now we're going to add some snow. See how I've filled up my paper towel. I'm going to fold that over. Let's see. First, I'm going to take my liner brush, my little brush. I'm just going to add a few lines here and there. So we got this one here. Definitely want to put a line. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. So like where there's a door. Maybe around the edges of the window. A little door handle in here. Put a little line down here. Okay, and now that I've done that, I'm going to come back in with my liner brush and just kind of add in. And you can use your little bit bigger brush too, but I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to add in little piles of snow. Just kind of touching this. I don't necessarily need it to be a straight, perfect line. I might want a little bit more here and there. Ideally, we should wait until the black that I just put on there dries. But here we got piles of snow on the wheel well. And just kind of have fun with it. Just put it on anywhere you think. I'm just kind of using my old painting I did as a guide. But of course, you guys will have a small this, and I'll put a picture up. And tree, well, it's dried some. Probably not enough yet, but we're also going to add snow to the tree. You can add big clumps of it. And a fun thing, if you're doing this at home, you may want to pick up something that's called Snow Tech, which is kind of like it'll look more like real snow. But if you're doing Snow Tech, you definitely have to wait for the painting to dry. So we're just gonna, it's like there's piles of snow on the tree. Just have fun with it. If you feel like you've put too much on there, you can always come back in with the greens or with the truck with the reds and paint over it. Let it dry a little bit first. Let's see. So then on the truck, if you want to, feel free to write like a name. I will put, let's see. Oh, I'll just do the same thing I did on my other one. Writing takes a little bit of practice with paint. But you can write anything. Write your last name. But then we're just about done. Now, I have a little silver here, which we can add to the wheels. Add a little bit of white to the wheel wells. And then comes the fun part. We can add the snow. So the best way to add the snow, add the snowing out and all that, is to use the back of your brush. Not this part, but this part. So we dip that in the white paint And we pop it down, and you can probably hit it maybe 3 or 4 times before you have to kind of reload. It'll give you a nice little, almost kind of consistent. Now you can for sure just use the tip of your brush as well. Either way, don't forget to make it snow on your truck. Now again, you can do your background any color. You can put these background trees in or not. Just make it solid gray and cloudy looking. I just wanted the more interest of the trees. Oops. I'm running out of white paint. I actually have to put a tiniest bit more white just to get through the snow. But the most important thing is to have fun with this. And we are just about done. And of course, at this point, you can go over the painting and look and see, is there anything you missed? Is there anything you want to fix? The hardest thing for an artist to do is stop. Honestly, you can sit there all day, nitpick, and find things you want to fix. Like, I want to make this a little lighter. Now don't forget, if you've used your back of your paintbrush, to clean it off when you're done. And if you're not using your paintbrushes, you generally should have them in the water. That was bad. Left this one out. Well, I didn't even use this one. We never used it, did I? I did use it a little bit. Use it for the background. Alright, so at this point, like I said, you can walk through and see if there's anything else you want to do. I think I'm good. I think it's alright. So this is a painting that we're going to be doing at the My People Senior Center on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So it's a little ways we got. But I do need to bring the painting to the Senior Center, so I wanted to make sure I got that done. And I'll be dropping that off tomorrow. But if you guys have never been here before, thank you for tuning in. If you're coming back, thank you for coming back and watching again. I know I have been terrible at putting out videos. Life has been really crazy. I've had several vet emergencies and work and parties, and sometimes it was just a little overwhelming, but I will be getting back to making videos and posting them on my YouTube, and so I will hope to see you, and I think that this is going to be a very fun Christmas season. wait till I got some stuff to show you. All right, well, thank you for tuning in. It's Joni from You're the Artist Paint Parties, and we'll see you next time.